Okay, cool. Hello. Right, okay, cool. So, welcome everyone to another video. Today we're going to be going over time management. If you're joining us from within the group, then hopefully this helps you to maybe see some opportunities for you to get your workouts in, for you to organize some meal prep and see where, some time is available because, a lot of us are busy. But it's so easy to say that we haven't got time when we don't actually know the time that we do have available. So what I'm going to do is literally what I used to do 2 years ago when I was working in retail and when I was at university as well. The only way that I got through that and survived is with good time management, right? So, and time management is always a learning process. I'm by far nowhere near the most time efficient or, um, time management master anywhere near that. But, it's just little things that we can do just to try and help us visualize and see where some time slots are available because I appreciate how hard it is to balance things. We've always got 101 things going on. But I promise you, if you have a calendar or some sort of a diary, some people might like paper-based, which you'll still be able to apply these same principles to a paper-based diary. It just makes things so much easier and more manageable, less stressful because there's nothing more stressful than trying to figure out what's going on when you don't know what's going on, or you're reminded by a text message that you have to scroll back to, or anything like that. And I promise you, this makes it so much easier. So we use Google Calendar. Why do we use Google Calendar? It integrates with third-party apps so much easier. So, for me personally, if someone's booking something in or, I've got calls or that, then it's very easy to use Google Calendar across all platforms. Whereas sometimes with like Apple calendars and stuff, they don't integrate or whatever other calendars people might use. So Google Calendar definitely seems to be the best for all of that. Um, I've lost my little bar. So literally what I'm gonna do now is go over what I used to do 2 years ago and exactly how I would kind of plan my day. So there's Google Calendar. You've got a Google account, then you can use it. If not, then I'm pretty sure you can still sign up to Google Calendar with other emails. And you can link them all up, and then it can kind of show. You can also have this set up so it shows in your Apple Calendar as well if you like. But super great app, and you can color code things, which obviously makes me excited because that makes life easier. So cool. So what did life look like for me 2 years ago? Well, I was very busy, but this is exactly how I would go about my week. So obviously, it starts on a Sunday, which isn't great, but just for the ease and simplicity of things, I would just keep things consistent. So Sunday to Saturday, wake ups, I would do a wake up and I would do a go to bed. So literally, if you go to more options, then you can repeat things. So you can repeat things daily. So if you have some consistencies in your life, then you can repeat stuff. So for example, that wake up, 5 a.m. Let me just make that a little bit. So, and all following events. See how easy that is? You make an edit to one, and if it kind of knows that it's a reoccurring event, then you can change it to all of them. So, or you can just do it to that particular event, and then boom. So that all updates. So from 5 to 5:30, I'm waking up. I'm pressing snooze, and I'm trying to get out of bed, right? So hopefully you can all relate to that. Then by 10 p.m. or 9:30, whether that be a wind down or going to bed, it's good to have that. So then you actually know what time you've got between things, right? So that doesn't mean that you've fallen asleep and you're in bed at 9 and you know the day's over at 9 o'clock. But what it does mean is that there's no more time slots available for BS, right? So literally from 5 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So typically I was very lucky. My work was very accommodating to my work and uni life balance. So they were super helpful with things. So I knew that every Thursday, literally from 9:30 to 5:30, I would have lectures. So let's just time block that out. And uni actually used to be red, God, this is a throwback. And again, I still do all of these things. So these things I still do. Obviously, I'm not going to show you my calendar because unfortunately it's against data protection. I can't just share things I have on my calendar, but this is how I would go about planning it, and this is how I still do it to this day. And pick up a day as well where you actually go over this and allocate this, whether it be maybe it's a Saturday morning, maybe it's a Sunday night, maybe it's a Monday morning, whenever you've got free time, just go over your next week's calendar and make sure that, it's looking pretty much correct. So Thursday I would have uni, and then Tuesday I would also have uni, but that would be in the mornings. So that would actually be 9:30 to 1 would be lectures, more or less. Again, this was like 2 years ago. So I can't remember everything, but it was pretty much around that. So, and uni would be red. So red uni just made things simple. It would be 9:30. So let me just move that. And again, the reason why I like Google Calendar so much is because it's so easy just to drag and drop things. So literally you can just click on a time, drag and drop for time, or you can click as well. So if you click on a day and a time slot, then you can just kind of type those things in. So you can just edit the time like that as well. So cool. So that would be my uni days, or when I would be in lectures essentially. And then work would be centered around that. So for for the sake of this video, what I'm going to do is 8 till 6. So just for the sake of this video, so some shifts would be a little bit different. It wouldn't always be 8 to 6. Sometimes it would be, so yeah, 10-hour shifts, bro. So work, and I always keep work blue just because it's always there. So literally my 2 days off. So obviously if anyone that works like a 5-day week, my 2 days off would literally be my days where I was at uni. Um, and yeah, it was pretty bloody hectic. I'm so glad that's over. But do you know what? Like it was such a good learning curve and I learned so much from it. And especially when it comes to like time management, it was worth it because I know that getting through that, I can get through anything. So cool. So again, like when I say about working 50-hour weeks, I wasn't like lying. My general, like my actual work schedule was 50 hours a week, and then I'd have uni as well. Okay, so cool. Anyways, regardless, this is literally what the basics of my week look like. And because like this is the thing, there's no point me doing this and you don't do anything. So I want you to download Google Calendar and I want you to put your shifts in and I want you to put anything else that you have in. So these are things that just don't change, okay? So if I've got my schedule, like my work rota for the month, then I would put my month work rota in there. And then I would put my uni stuff. Obviously, I can put the uni stuff on repeat because that was the same for that semester. Nothing else changes around that, right? So this is literally what the base of my week would look like, and then I can plan everything around this because these are the unchangeables. I have to go work. I need to make money. I'm gonna have to go uni because I want an education. So now it was like, okay, cool. How do I work things around this? So cool. So what I would do. So because this is absolutely mental, just to even think that I used to do this is crazy. So from literally, I mean, from 5:45 to 7:30, I'd be driving to work. Um, because I used to work in retail. I used to work in House of Fraser in Guildford. So the reason why, if you don't get on the M25 by 6 o'clock, or well, the M1, if you're anywhere near me, trying to get into London as well, game over. So what I would do is I would wake up earlier to beat the traffic, get there earlier so I had a little bit of time just to be myself, or meet up with some friends for a coffee or that. So, and then obviously I'd have to commute home as well, right? But we'll get to that later. So I knew that this was pretty much my schedule on a working week. And then when it came to uni, I'd do the same thing as well. God, do you know how depressing this is going over this? I didn't realize this is how bad it was. Anyways, look, I might have to skip some of this if I edit it or go over it, but you need to do these things. And I think as well, you realize how much little time you do actually have. But I promise you, even looking at this now, I still found time to do workouts. I still found time for myself, all right? So cool. So, I mean, realistically, on a Tuesday, I would leave a little bit later. It'd be more like 7:30 because you kind of get away with the rush, and I'd be there at 9. And I'll be real. If I was late for a lecture, then I was late for a lecture. Um, it wasn't the same as being late for work. I'm just being real here, guys. Um, so for context, for anyone that doesn't know, I live in Luton. So obviously to get to London or Guildford, so I worked in Guildford, went to university in Twickenham. So obviously both ways I'm driving to London. So I need to be the M25 traffic or M1 traffic. So obviously a lot of my life was spent driving. And yeah, my calendar was just full all the time. Obviously as well, like real life things, work would stagger. So sometimes it would be a 9 o'clock start to 7 or whatever, but it was always 10 hours. So more or less it was this. So when we look at this, we go, okay, cool. So it takes you an hour 15 to, I mean, that's ambitious still, but I always had like half an hour leeway. So this is what that looked like. And then I always wanted to get home for 9. But so for me, if I had to beat traffic, and some of you might see the same, if I have to beat the commute, then I know that there's no point me driving home at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock because it's not happening. Okay. I I'm sitting in traffic for 2 hours, right? So what am I doing this time, right? Because I know that if I leave at 8 o'clock every day from work, then I can get home in an hour because there's no traffic. And again, like these are just this wasn't always 100%, sometimes it would be a little bit later, but this is the general theme of how we plan things and how we see opportunities to do the things we want to do. Because another thing is like, I was working so many hours and I was like, fuck this. Like what am I supposed to do in my life? Just do this for the rest of my life and just die. Like I was like, no, I need to do something. So anyways, I was like, okay, cool. So we can see the white gaps, right? And you know, the white gaps are time that we have free. So, and do you know what? Like, I really hope that no one's calendar does look like this, because this was a really, really horrible, tough time, and you do need to prioritize your sleep and your balance and everything like that. But, um, if it does look like that, then my heart goes out to you because looking at this again, that was really tough. But yeah, essentially, cool. So we finished work at 6 o'clock. So not every day um I'm training obviously, but I knew that, look at this lovely gap of space. I was like, okay, cool. So when I finish uni, I know that there's a Pure Gym around Twickenham. By the way, I've always been a Pure Gym member because you can go to multiple sites. So when I worked in Guildford, I'd go to the Pure Gym in Woking, and when I was at uni, I'd go to the Pure Gym in Twickenham, and I could use multiple sites. And then when I was here in Luton, then I would do it in Luton. So I'd finish uni around 1 o'clock. Then the walk to the gym, I try and aim there around 2. Maybe I'd grab a coffee or that. And I would go to the gym. I'm not going to color code because I don't want this to go on forever and it's going to be a really hard watch. And then I knew that finish at 5:30 again. What happens at that time? The gym's like the traffic's gonna be absolutely mental. So there's no point me sitting in the traffic for like 2 hours. I may as well stick around, um, get a workout in, and then get home when it's a lot clearer. Because I don't know about you guys, but like for me, it was about managing stress, especially with a calendar like this. And the last thing you want on top of all of this is extra stress because it's just like, why? So if I was trying to, think about this, get out of uni at 5:30, try and get through the London traffic, then I'm stuck in traffic, then I'm sitting in traffic, then I'm thinking about all the other things I could do. And I'm like, oh, blah, traffic, blah, driver cuts in front of you, whatever. It's just adding additional stress to your life. Whereas you could chill, relax, finish uni, grab a drink, have something to eat, cool, do your workout, and then get home, right? Because I know that the road's gonna be clear. That's not only a stress out of my life, but I've also managed to get a workout in, which also helps with stress. And it's just a little bit of time for myself. So I was like, okay, cool. And I'll be real, most of the time it was just 2 workouts a week. And, if I was lucky, then I might get one on a weekend. So let's just say it definitely would have been a Saturday, it would have been a Sunday because Sunday was like my favorite day because the roads were just clear. So I would literally just be able to jump on and just get home so quickly. And then obviously I would need time to drive to the gym. So that would be how I'd fit my gym schedule in. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. So, you said you done meal prep. Like, how did you plan for food? Oh, okay, cool. So where's the time available? And this is the thing, right? Is like obviously this is a very, very, very obvious single person life, right? So no commitments to anyone else, no commitments to children or anything like that. So this is very self-centered around me and my schedule. Whereas for a lot of you, although it might not look like this, that there will be opportunities where it's like, pick up kids up from school or be back home for the kids or childcare, whatever. Put it all in because you need to be in a particular location at a particular time, but you'll be able to see these white gaps where you're able to do something. And guess what? At work, I kid you not, like sometimes I feel like people think I bullshit about these things. So guess what? When you're at work, you have a break. And on my break, I discovered I had an hour of my time. And at this point, I had a coach who I was working with, and we'd go through these things. And I kind of said, well, look, I've got an hour at break. That's some time where I can work on things. So, duh, 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 what we would do is, this is kind of like the development of, this is like going over the layers. So, first of all, what you do is you plan your non-negotiables. Okay, I'm from work at this time to this time. If you work in a school, then obviously I don't know what time you start, but maybe you start at like 8 o'clock and then you're there till 3 o'clock. And then so you put that as an entire block. And then what you do is you'd go, okay, cool. If I have a break, then let me just insert my break. And by the way, like my break wasn't at 12. Again, like there's flexibility around this. Like my break wasn't at 12 o'clock every day. It must be ridiculous if you thought that was happening. And my break wasn't always an hour. Again, like life kicks in. Um, because things at work pop up. But I knew that when it was break time, guess what? I would get my 30 minutes of walking in. Like literally again, and it really is this simple. Like that, and again, I was in a position where I had really nice scenery around where I used to work. So if anyone knows Guildford, then you've got like the castle, you've got the grounds around. So like especially in summer, it was really nice. But at lunchtime, I would literally split up my hour. Half an hour I'd go for a walk, and then half an hour I would have my lunch, but I'd also do some uni work. So, and like that's the thing, right? Is that maybe it was like 20 minutes of walking, and then maybe it was like 20 minutes of uni work, and then like 20 minutes of like transition between or whatever. But this is literally going through the layers of perceived time versus actual time, right? Because it would have been so easy for me to say, I don't have time. Like, are you joking? Have you seen that calendar? Um, I would say, looking at that calendar, bro, you don't have time. But guess what? If you keep going through the layers, bloody hell, I need to move my little face. If you keep going through the layers, then you find time. There's the hour break. Boom, we're efficient. We're doing uni work. We're catching up with uni work. We go for our walk. We get our steps in. And guess what? I've now got 3 workouts a day in, a week in. What? I just would have said that I would have had no time. And again, I mean, that driving was pretty consistent because then, I mean, when this one, I would definitely do the Tuesday was different. I'll be real with you. I need to change that Tuesday because that definitely wasn't happening. But the Thursday, yeah, consistent. I would wait around and I would drive home later because again, the roads were clear. So like try to put this in context, maybe like the tubes are just mental in London, around rush hour. I know it's a little bit different because people work from home. Maybe the tubes are mental. So you're just like, actually, do you know what? Rather than going through that stress, rather than trying to jam on the tubes and rush home and create so much more stress for myself, why don't I go to the gym, train, shower, bring something with me to eat, relax, and then get a nice quiet train home. Um, and then as soon as you get home, you've done your workout, you've had something to eat, you can just go to bed. Like, I think a lot of this is like avoiding stress as well, because sometimes we put so much additional stress onto ourselves by trying to do too much or trying to do things too quickly. Like, have you ever tried to get off an airplane as soon as it's landed? Like, why are you even bothering? Because like everyone's just like fighting, and it's just like, just relax. Like, let people get off the plane. Like, you're just creating so much stress for yourself. Okay, cool. So obviously our Tuesday is looking pretty empty, but I said I had no time, right? Clearly there's time. So what I would do is Tuesday was my meal prep slash shopping day. So what I would do is I drive home after gym and an hour and a half, no way. So I would definitely allocate 2 hours to driving home on a Tuesday because although it was a little bit quieter at 3:30, it's kind of like breaking rush hour. So if I was there for 2 hours and I was like, cool, firm it. Um, but if not, then it's just a bonus, right? And then after, so like literally, I wouldn't even stop home. I'd go straight to shopping, and then for I would just block out an hour, and then I would do meal prep, meal prep for the week. So again, like if you just keep going through and you look at it and you go again and you go again and you go again, you go, wow, I've actually got so much more time than I thought I had. And guess what? I could easily change that to 9 o'clock. I can easily change it to 10 o'clock. Going to bed at 10 o'clock, going to bed at 9 o'clock, and wake up at 5 a.m. is more sleep than most of you are getting anyways. You know, I'm still getting my 8 hours of sleep in, and you know, it's probably more than the most people get. Whenever I ask people how much sleep they get, it's always between 6 to 7. And if you get 10 hours of sleep in, then maybe just sleep faster because you do have time to do things, right? Again, leaving a little bit later, maybe I'd get extra sleep on this day and this day. Because I'd always have a day where I'd be like, okay, that's my sleep day. That's where I catch up with things. Um, but again, it's just like look at these gaps in time. Like when do you have breaks? When do you have time between, whatever? When do you have time between work? Like what are you doing between work? And it's like as soon as you keep going over these things, you can start seeing these opportunities. So again, what's nice is that this takes emotion out of it. So you could have a really crap day on Thursday, let's say, and your workout scheduled, and you go, just so tired. One, you've committed to working out on that day, and it's an appointment. You're going to get like a notification on your phone saying workout. You're like, oh no, got to do it. Or you go, actually, do you know what? I'm not really feeling that today, but I do actually know that. See, look how clever it is. It has a picture of the gym because it's picked up the word workout. Anyways, well, I do know that I have a 2 hour gap on Friday. So let me just pop that in there and I'll do a workout after because you've allowed yourself some white space to move stuff around. I'm cautious of the time and I don't want this to go on forever, but I just want you to be able to see that by downloading a calendar app and actually just put in the things that you have to be or the locations where you have to be first, then thinking about break times, then thinking about commuting or traveling, then actually kind of taking a step back, looking at days off. What am I doing on the days off? Prioritize your workouts. If you're someone who likes to work out in the morning, hopefully you're not someone that has to spend like 2 hours commuting like I did. you can find half an hour slots in your time to be able to do these things. I promise you. Um, and if you want an action plan, then send me a picture of your calendar and show me what that looks like, and I'll find time for you. I promise you, because at least 2 days a week, you can get a workout in. And if you're sticking to that, and before you were doing none, then you're making progress. And, I would allocate like 2 hour workouts because, I like to spend time in the gym. It's kind of like more of like a mental, like clear for me. And my workouts take long, but I could have easily done like a 30-minute circuit if I was on things and I wanted to be like in and out, boom, boom, boom. I could have easily done a circuit while I was at work. Um, if I wanted to, but I'd much rather go for a walk. So again, it's so easy to say we don't have time. And I appreciate that, some days are crap days and some days are good days. That's irrelevant from this conversation. Okay. From this conversation solely, it's about time management, how we manage our time without the emotion, and how we fit shit in. Because if we keep saying that we don't have time, then you're never going to have time. And, what we actually tell ourselves is a lot more powerful, because we start to believe it. If you tell yourself something for long enough, then you really start to believe it. And then before you know it, you get later on in life and, you've missed out on so many things because you always said you couldn't or you didn't have time. So sort your shit out, sort your time management out, and trust me, things become so much easier and you find time. Maybe it's not for workouts, maybe you've got your workout sorted, but maybe it's for family. Maybe family would be like, oh, do you want to come around for dinner on this day? Block it out. Things become so much easier when you're scheduled. You're a lot less stressed. You know what's happening. And actually, things are just easier when you can visually look at it. Because again, as I said at the start, there's nothing worse than, someone texting you being like, oh, hey, like I'm 30 minutes away. You're like, oh, I didn't know the in-laws were coming round. Do you know what I mean? For example. So, reduce all of that crap, get your time sheets sorted out, and get more organized. That is the lesson for today. Thanks for watching.